tantrums of temper.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back. Today we're talking about temper tantrums and the imperative message that our children are sending while using temper tantrums. Now, when we're talking about temper tantrums, we're talking about, the tantrums that 2-year-olds have when they're banging their head on the floor. And we're also talking about, maybe 8-year-olds stomping the door saying, I hate you. A 15-year-old might punch a hole through the basement wall or the bedroom wall out of anger or slam a door, something like that. And then our 20 to 50-year-olds also have temper tantrums. If you know what I'm talking about, give me a like or a comment underneath the video to say, oh yes, I've seen grown-up temper tantrums. We are Bonnie and Thomas Liotta. We are the authors of Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids, the creators of Creating Champions for Life. And, there's 3 ways that you can look at a temper tantrum. You can get angry about it, you can ignore it, or you can be empowering, both empowered yourself and empowering for your child. And we're going to show you today how to be more empowering during a temper tantrum for your child so that they can learn the skills and develop the characteristics themselves to learn how to navigate through life with their words, with goals, with a solution-oriented mindset so they can create success at home, at school, and in life now and forever. All right, so when we're talking about the imperative message from our children in chapter 2 of the book, Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids. And hey, if you're just joining us for the first time, you need the resources, Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids audiobook and ebook, the PDF version. Go to learntospeakkid.com right now. You'll get an automatic email with the resources so you can follow along with what we're talking about. But if you're just watching us on Facebook or on YouTube and you're not sure yet, you're going to get a lot of golden nuggets from this presentation right here. And you can go get the resources afterwards so you can join us live next week with a little bit more knowledge when it comes to what we're talking about. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Brittany. Welcome. And if you're watching us on the platforms, I have no idea. We're just getting to learn the platforms ourselves. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about temper tantrums from 2 to 50. We all have them sometimes, don't we? And different ways that we can respond to it. Now, when we're talking about the book, and we've got it printed off here, the book, I want to point out a few statistics so that you know that you're not in this on your own, that you know that this is a worldwide global pandemic. The behavior disorders, behavior issues that we're having with our children, power struggles within the home, arguments, and it gets so much worse than that. So we want to highlight what's going on in the world so you can know what we're talking about. Did you know that ADHD and other child behavior and mood disorders, including anxiety and depression, have increased to the tune of more than 54% of today's children being medicated as a solution? Medication, behavioral therapy, appointments with therapists, doctors, kind of like the never-ending stream of appointments. Teenage suicide is the #1 cause of adolescent death worldwide. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. School gun shooting by classmates have increased over 300% in the last couple of decades. Like since Columbine in the 1980s, that was really the first mass school shooting. If you haven't heard about that, it's in the book. And there's also a massive amount of articles and videos that will tell you about what's happening there. But I mean, there's a problem when our kids are picking up guns and going to schools and killing each other. There's a problem. What we believe to be true is that through these efforts of our children, they are looking to share an imperative message with us the only way they know how, through temper tantrums from small to large. And so we're talking about, Tom, three different ways that you can react to a temper tantrum. I was watching a thread yesterday on Twitter, and it was, I yell at my children to stop yelling, and somehow they just don't listen. And there probably was like 100 comments underneath going, yeah, yelling at them won't work. And nobody really had a solution. So we're here to talk about solutions. Temper tantrums.
Yes. And let's maybe take a moment just to really dial it in. What is a temper tantrum, right? A temper tantrum could be a way for us to express ourselves in a non-creative way. It's meaning us to be told what to do and no one's showing us how to do it on our own. So a temper tantrum is a way for us to take all of our bottled up energy and it has no creative outlet that could be in a creative way. So when Bonnie was talking about the three different ways, when a temper tantrum comes is one is just flat out ignore it. Well, that's like holding your breath underwater. You can only do that for so long, right, parents? Like we know it's like, well, I've got a threshold for 5-10 minutes, and after that, I snap. You can only hold your breath or ignore for so long, which is number one. Two, you can fight fire with fires, trying to get rid of dark with dark. Could you imagine yelling and screaming at them to stop yelling and screaming and think that that would work? Or better yet, how many of us would you stop effing swearing in the house, please? Right? That is two wrongs don't make a right. And then the third one is where we step into the place of going, so instead of punishing it, putting gas on a fire, thinking it's going to go out, we find a way to really hear what the temper tantrum is. It is a request for education. It is a request for somebody to believe in me. It is a request for you to say, hey, I picked you to show me how this works in the world. Could you give me a way that I could be independent and be able to create it the way I see you create it or other people do, but nobody gave me the secret yet?
Yes, I want you to think about the term terrible twos because, we've got a few live guests with us here. Participate with me. How many of you believed in terrible twos before you were ever a parent? That terrible twos exist, that you should expect them, that 2-year-olds are just terrible? Did anyone think that? Did you think that now that you're a parent? It's like, why is my toddler constantly telling me no? I'm trying to make a point is that we are programmed and conditioned to believe certain things. And terrible twos, like the term terrible twos, was not coined into a phrase until the middle of the 1950s. And my parents were born in the 50s, so now that you got my parents and you've got my generation, of course we believe terrible twos are normal, and we're here to say they're not normal. It's not a normal part of childhood. Teenage rebellion is not a normal part of childhood. Temper tantrums are kind of not normal. So we want you to see this, okay? I want you to picture your baby's born. Your baby got this little baby. Baby's born with an absolute blank slate, has no idea how the world works, has no idea what manners are, how to sit properly in a chair or anything like this. And so now you've got this 18-month-old toddler to 2-year-old. They're excited about the world. Everything they see is new in their eyes. A butterfly is new. Like sitting at a table is new. A white couch looks like maybe a canvas. They like to draw on things like that and walls and things like that. Okay. Because they're not trying to be naughty. They don't wake up in the morning going, how can I tick mom off or ruin the couch or the walls or whatever? They're just looking at their world and navigating it in the only way that they know how, unless we can take the time to teach them. So Thomas, give a little example, and maybe we can invite who wants to play with us. Got to wait. Dawn? Okay. So Dawn, we're going to invite Dawn to the stream. And I want you to treat Dawn the way that we treat our toddlers and just see how she reacts. You're our toddler now.
Okay.
All right, Dawn, come on over here and sit down. All right, keep your hands to yourself. And when you need something, wait, put your chair. Hey, sit with your butt on the seat. Keep your hands to yourself. Look forward. Keep your head up. Why are you not listening? Do this. Do that.
Wait. You're not sitting up straight enough. Just sit up like we talked about at home. You're embarrassing me.
Why can't you do what she just said? It's really simple. We covered it before. Now, at this stage, when did you go from, well, I like you to, you're the worst person in the world and I don't even like you a little? Did it
Yeah.
happen when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dictations came? What was the magic number? Where did you feel it?
It was pretty quick. Yeah, just after a couple of them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for participating. And we're going to put you back down here. Okay. So that is an example of how we have been conditioned and taught to speak to our kids, right? Didn't Super Nanny say get down on their level and tell them what to do and explain, what's going on and this kind of thing? But explain the difference, child's brain, parent's brain. What is a toddler thinking? I mean, what all of you were thinking as we went through that exercise. You could probably put yourself into the shoes of a toddler, but Tom's going to break it down for you because we think that our children can see the world the same way that we can. And we have 20 some odd, 30, 40, 50 years of experience that they do not have.
Yes. So if we're looking at the adult brain versus the kid's brain, let's say they're at 2 and we're at 22 plus. A kid's brain only knows what it knows, and it is not able to project itself forward to really understand what it's like to own a car, buy a house, actually have kids, be responsible for things. Where the adult brain has the brilliance of being able to do both sides of the coin. We used to be toddlers and we remember how it felt when our parents talked to us. And now we can actually go back to our childhood. We can remember the first time that we got a bicycle or rode one or was able to go to the store for the first time. We can remember those things. But to think that a child can come forward to our level and even have an understanding or even a perception of where we're coming from is absolutely backwards. And if we start getting angry because they don't hear us, so we got to start thinking and talking more loudly, thinking that that's somehow going to bridge the gap of understanding, then we can really understand that when there are temper tantrum or we said no to them so many times and we start going, well, oh, I get it. That's how I communicate. No back. And all of a sudden it's not working. And that's what's very, very key. We must be able to take a time to breathe. Okay. I know they can't come to my world. So am I going to be able to take the time to go back to their world? Can I go back to remember what it was even like to be 2 to 5 years old? And when you can, now you're at a level where the communication can reconnect.
Yeah. So Thomas, you're going to explain the formula, the magic formula to put an end to our children's temper tantrums. And I know Thomas just said 2 to 5, but we talked about just at the beginning, we have temper tantrums when we're 15. And so questions that we get a lot are, you're talking about little ones, but I have a 15-year-old or I have a 20-year-old. No, the formula is exactly the same. And I want you to picture a baby oak tree or a big oak tree, a baby oak tree or a 50-year-old oak tree. They still need water. They still need sunlight. They still need fertilization. They still are growing. They're reproducing. Same with our children, whether they're a toddler or a 20-year-old having a temper tantrum. The formula to end the temper tantrums and to step into your power as a parent and to empower our children to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually is the exact same formula. So, no matter how old your children are, it's just that your 20-year-old hasn't matured beyond the 2-year-old toddler temper tantrum. They still cry to get what they want. Maybe now they're using words, they're using fists because they're physically larger, but they're emotionally exactly the same. How many of you experience kind of like an emotional breakdown or reaction to certain things? Whatever it is for yourself. Is there anything in this world that you respond to in a negative way, that you get angry about or frustrated about? Okay. Maybe that is something. We're an adult now and we can look in the mirror and we can go, I need to read a book. I need to meditate. I need to visualize. And maybe you've never heard of meditation and you're just hearing it for the first time. Well, good on you. Look it up, meditation, right? If you're just learning about it, or you know about it, but your children don't know about it. You see what I'm saying? So what we're going to teach you to do right now, we're going to share the formula, the magic formula that will diffuse and prevent most temper tantrums. Now, if we are doing this for the very first time, how long does it take to create a new habit? How long does it take to create something new? And sometimes, your child might pick it up in an instant going, oh, that's called a goal. I put it in writing. I create a plan. Now I have a vision on what exactly I need to do. Because what did Nicole put? I just heard from a TikTok influencer, a therapist told us to say, it's okay to be angry, but we don't throw. Okay, so then what the heck do we do? Do you see that? Telling a child, we don't do that. We don't run in the house. We don't yell. We don't throw. We don't hit. And your toddler or your child is going, huh? Maybe you're telling your teenager, no, we don't drive the car because you never did homework. Well, what does your teenager need to do to be able to drive a car? What does your 20-year-old need to do to be able to do the things that they're doing maybe in your house that are driving you nuts? Maybe they need to pay rent. Maybe they need to move out. What do they need to do? You see, it's up to you as mom or dad to create an environment that will allow your child to grow and to learn the next stage of life wherever they're at or whatever age they're at. Sean, mostly the standoff appears as a control force energy, his power versus my power in vibrational energy. Yes, exactly. Exactly the same, whether it's you and a 20-year-old. So the thing is mom, we've just got to stop arguing. You got to go, what life skills does he need to learn? What am I willing to actually put up with in my house? If your toddler's 2 and screaming, where can they scream? If your teenager's hitting holes in the wall, what can they hit? Who's going to fix the wall? Maybe it's just them taking responsibility to fix the wall and not you feeling like you have to fix everything all the time. And if they're 20 years old, what are you willing to put up with and what are you not willing to put up with? Because at the end of the day, actually at the age of 20, living in mom's house is a privilege. So share the formula, Tom. That was a lot, by the way. Share the formula that will diffuse any type of, like Sean was just saying, the power struggle or the vibrational energy of arguing.
Well, first and foremost, the formula would be the opposite of anything negative. This is where we start, just like we heard. You don't throw things. It's not answering the question. You're deflecting it. You're dictating again. The formula is exactly what they came to you in the first place. They're expressing a, hey, can you show me where I can do this? Where's the best place? How can I do it in a way that's just like you? So the formula is this: opposite of anything negative. You see them having a want, need, or a desire, better known as a goal, and you are their trusted advisor. They came to you and are explaining it in the best way they can. So when we hear them do something or say something, look at you. I see you're onto something there. You looks like you're going after something. Is that something that you need or want, or is that a passion that you have? It's better known as a goal. And you probably need to know how, when, or where you can really do that, and allow me to show you where you can bang, where can you hit, where can you spit, where can you kick. And that is really how simple it is that it's the opposite is we're controlling them the way we want them to. And that's always going to be a negative plus negative. They're looking to be guided. Oh, so you like to be able to yell. Well, let's show you where that is. We call that our outside voice. Let's step out here onto the deck and let's use that outside voice. And better yet, you can use that outside voice between 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Finally, somebody heard me, somebody could see me, and somebody was actually showing me a plan to my goal. Because right now I've been stuck in, I've got a goal, taking action, and everybody's telling me no, can't, don't, won't. And it gets a little frustrating, no or yes. But this person said where I could. Oh, finally, somebody that's on my side, and they're going to help me grow to be the genius that I've always wanted to be.
Oh, oh my God. I love this stuff. It's so empowering. What if your 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old was different than you? And what if they had a different purpose in life than you? And what if they saw the world differently than you? What if dad wants the son to follow in the company footsteps and the son wants to go backpack across Europe? Does that make him a bad person? No. There's a place, there's a form. Maybe dad, maybe there's a plan. What do you want? What does your child want? Now, another thing is too, and Sean, I'm not talking to you directly. We've all kind of experienced this. If you've raised teenagers like to party. They like to drink and drug and do things that you might or might not want them to do. And here's the thing. You can follow a teenager around who wants to do drugs and tell them, don't do that over my dead body, and try to control them and try to put them in a box. Can you remember what it was like when you were a teenager and you wanted to try things and do things and somebody putting you in a box? Now, maybe we don't remember, but I'm telling you, if your teenager has a desire to do something, it's really up to you to create an environment to show them how. Now, if you want to be a meth addict or a drug addict, there's a very simple way to do that. That's called living on the streets. It's called living without any food, clothes, or shelter. You can't follow your teenager around and make them do something you want them to do, but it's up to you to create an environment that would allow them to make the right choices. And that might sound harsh or controversial or whatever. I'm not saying, yes, please go be a drug addict. I'm just saying, if they're going to, they're going to. And there's nothing that you can do or say to stop them. So what we have to do as parents is create the environment that we can live with and that will allow them to be hungry enough to make up their own mind, to choose themselves better choices, choose themselves to get up and go to school, choose themselves to engage in life skills. And if your teenager or young adult will not stop playing video games, I want you to ask the question, who bought the video games? Who brought the machine into the house? Who pays the power bill? Who has the remote control, the password to the Wi-Fi? Who is in control of not their children, but the environment that the children grow in? Your children ages 2 to 50 want to please you. They want to be like you. They want to have responsibility and purpose and direction in this world. And I'm telling you what, they're counting on you to teach them how the world works, not to raise them in some fantasy land where everything that they do gets cleaned up the next day magically by you, who then resents them. They are looking for you to say, oh, I'd love for you to watch TV as soon as all this mess is put away the way I taught you. And if you haven't taught them, then teach them. When Tom was talking about earlier, validate. I want a nose ring. I want a cookie just before dinner. I want whatever. I want to play with my friends, but I haven't done my homework. Validate. I'd love for you to go to your friends. Ooh, you want a nose ring? What does that look like? Oh, you want to go to a party this weekend? What kind of party? Who's going to be there? Why do you want to go? What's the purpose? I don't know. Validate what's important to them. We're not saying, yes, go out and run out and get it for them, but validate what's important to them. Number 2, create a master plan. When you're 16, we can talk about a nose ring. That's what you say to your 12-year-old. You're not saying no or yes, let's go get you a nose ring, and no, you can't because you're only 12. You're saying, you know what? Let's talk about this when you're 16, okay? You're showing them the vision of when they can look forward to it, okay? You want to drink or whatever? Let's talk about that when, I'm in Alberta, Canada, we're 18. And here you can drink when you're 18. whatever it is that's right for you. Your mom, your dad, you get to create the environment that your kids are growing up in. We're saying empower them to show you who they are. Deep inside your child, they're like, look at me. I'm a great person. Look how smart I am. I drew a portrait on the white couch. Look what I did, Mom. And we're coming in, we're mad at them. And they're like, oh my God, I don't even know why you're yelling at me. I was so proud of the work that I just did on that white couch. So show them where they can draw. Sometimes you got to suck some things up. You got to show them where they can draw. Not on the couch. Where can they draw? Right? Validate, give them a plan, and allow them to fail sometimes, meaning they're not always going to accomplish their goal, and that's okay. When my 16-year-old daughter looked at me and she goes, I just love you guys. Like, I don't always get what I want, but you never say no, and you always show me what I need to do to make things happen. And I really appreciate that. So that's how we help our children step up.
Yes. And boy, I know we're getting ready to wrap up here. And boy, what an amazing day. And thank you so much for showing up. But I would like to just take one moment here and look you straight right in the eye, mom and dads, and let you know that you, not to say that we've been duped, but we've been misled to compete with the Joneses. It's not your fault. Your child wants something. They need something. They have a desire. They love something. And you went out there and you were told to be a good mom or dad, go get it for them. And boy, you gave it to them. And boy, you remember that short-term big hug you got. And boy, that felt great. And look how excited he is. He's right there on the floor, or she's over out there getting ready to ride her bike or play with the new toy. And there was no training associated with it. So we start seeing things that we don't like. And all of a sudden we're like, there's a safety. She's riding a bike out in the street. Whoa. Right. We start finding ourselves in a position of, boy, this is going to hell in a handbasket really, really fast here. And oh boy. And then we start taking things back, and we're just looking to correct the collateral damage. We were doing the best that we could with what we knew at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for being there to actually be the one to be the supplier for them. But without that missing pre-frame, all right, let's look at the 3 ways that this plan can actually be in motion. 1 is I give it to you and I ignore you. 2, I give it to you and you don't do it the way I think you should. I start taking it back. Or better yet, we find a way to make it happen where you start to earn it. Because I can remember when I was a kid in the 4th and 5th grade, that when I actually saved up $162 by mowing lawns for $5 a pop, nobody ever had to ask me to lock up my bike, bring it back in, and not leave it out in the rain. And it was always in the garage every single day because I had some skin involved. I had some equity into it. And that's what our kids are really looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And let's embrace that 3rd option so we can and will and are raising healthy, happy, cooperative kids.
That's awesome. Yeah, life's about to change for you who are engaging with Creating Champions for Life. And Eva, how can we correct grandparents? Oh, man. I mean, grandparents are an obstacle, aren't they? I'm gonna invite some of our parents and clients onto the live stream with us here. Welcome, you guys. We're gonna discuss this. Yes, grandparents will answer, I need to spank and punish them more. And if you watched last week's episode, we talked about the old way of thinking. We talked about there wasn't behavior disorders back in the day. What was the difference? And we talked about it last week, is they had purpose, they had jobs to do. They did get spanked, but at least they knew where the lines were, right? Like, we don't want to physically hurt them, but like the kids knew if I did this or whatever, I was going to get spanked. And yeah, that's called fear-based parenting. It was very effective. And a lot of the generation has grown up in fear, as we all know. We see the generation, what they're doing. We don't want that. We want our kids to grow up and be able to live life in faith, right? And solution oriented. So Eva, yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I mean, you might want some mentoring from us. When it comes to my parents, I just taught my kids how to respond and react to my parents. So when they get told what to do now, they just kind of like take it with a grain of salt. And, I just train them so well on this end that they can handle this world and they can handle that. So that's what we're hoping for your kids. You got to teach your kids how to handle dictation and this negative world. So with all that being said, thanks guys for being here. Who has something they'd like to share, add, comment, ask? Brittany, hang on. I'm going to unmute. There we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to share that yesterday there's a show, it's called The Talk, and it normally comes on, I think, around 1 in the afternoon or something like that. Well, there was I guess they were talking about, there's one of the ladies on there who brought up talking about, well, this parent posted that she took away her 10-year-old's birthday party because she chose not to do the dishes, even though she had until a certain time. I guess she had until her birthday. I guess her birthday was like on a Thursday or something like that, and she chose not to do the dishes. So, the mom took away her birthday party, and now she's been getting all these negative comments about it, saying how mean that was and all that stuff. And I think it was 5 talk hosts on the show, and I think it was 4 of them or something like that kind of agreed with it, and then there was one lady on there that she thought it was kind of harsh. But anyway, it was an actor on there by the name of Jerry O'Connell. You might know who he is. But anyway, he had said something like, well, I have to bribe my kids to get them to do their chores. And I'm like, yep, keyword is bribe. That's one of the things that's, causing, the issues. And I think I remember him saying something like, him, what was it? He said something like, well, I'm going to take away this or something like that. And he said that his kids responded, no, Dad, you're not going to do it. You never do. So, and I'm like, okay. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's so interesting. So we know that if we get pulled over and we try to bribe a police officer, or we go to court and we try to bribe a judge, we know that's illegal. So I'm just wondering, like, we are going to challenge your beliefs, of those of you that are just getting to know Creating Champions for Life. But if it's illegal to bribe a judge, why is it okay to bribe our children? What do you think that you're teaching your children when you bribe? I'd love to see the comments below the video. What are your thoughts about bribing? Why is it okay? And what do you think we're teaching our children when we choose to bribe? Thank you, Brittany.
Yep.
Anyone else? Christine, did you have something to share?
Well, in talking about Brittany's story, I was just thinking maybe the birthday party wasn't what the girl wanted in the first place.
Right.
Maybe that's why she didn't do the dishes.
Yep.
Yeah, just there's so much that I've been thinking about this whole time that you've been talking. Going back to with the teenagers and the partying and the drugs and all of those kind of things that come up, and we're right in the beginning stages of the teenage years. So it's a really good time for us that we're in this and have these principles and guides to get us through, because just thinking about it with especially with the drug use and drinking and everything, it's like you said, when you create the right environment to help them make the right choice, instead of like enabling them, like just telling them not to do it, but then still letting them, then they're going to eventually probably do it anyway without just dictating and telling them not to do it. And then if they get involved in that, and then you just, still let them live at home, and you're still taking care of them, and you're still doing everything for them, and that doesn't create the environment for them to want to make the right kind of choices and help them and guide them into those kind of things. So it's like you are being the enabler and actually helping them do those things that you don't want them to do. So I was thinking
I'm going to be just like a little bit of a devil's advocate, because anytime I find myself saying, I want for my kid to have this, I don't want for my kid to have that or do that or whatever. Anytime I'm saying I want blank for my kids, I'm on the wrong path, because my kid's life is my kid's life. It's not anything to do with me, except for I'm their trusted advisor to show them the best, easiest, fastest, safest path to get what they want. They want power. They want to feel included. They want purpose in their lives. So yeah, I just wanted to add, anytime we're saying, I want my kids to have this, be this, do that, we're kind of working with the wrong route, where the route is taking us to power struggle. See what I'm saying? Because the child, no matter what it is, I want you to be straight and get straight A's. Well, they're going to do the opposite of what you want them to do. So as long as you're accepting of them, of who they are, and you're loving them no matter what they choose. I love you, whether you live here or on the streets. Like, really, that's the truth. I love you. I accept you. I'm here for you. Whenever you're ready to go here, I'm here for you, to teach you, to be your guide. You'll see they will make good choices. You'll see. We have to trust in them a little bit more. But I will say, as a human being, we will always choose life when given the opportunity. But when we're forced to choose life, we're going to shrivel up and go the opposite way. How much does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. We're human beings. They're human beings. Now, Sean said, is taking something away always punishment? I'm asking because recently changed the Wi-Fi password. Now, I'm all for changing the Wi-Fi password, but was it done as a reaction secretly, or was it done with a crystal clear plan in advance? Did we give them the opportunity to earn the use of the Wi-Fi, or did we just go, oh, you haven't done enough what I wanted you to do, so I changed the Wi-Fi password. And when you do what I want you to do, then you can have the Wi-Fi password back. And so you don't have to answer me, whatever. I just want you to kind of give that some thought energy. There's always going to be something called the transition, the gestational period between setting a goal and working towards the result of that goal. There's a gestational period. Could you imagine if we just all kind of like manifested things immediately? Oh, I want this, and now my whole house takes form. No, it took 10, 20, 30 years of conditioning to get to where we are today. It didn't happen overnight. So just kind of take a grain of salt, be not sympathetic, but empathetic, and just be like, here's the plan moving forward. You have 7 days to engage, right? 7 days to engage. What is it that you want? What is it that you are working towards? And as long as we can work together as a team, I'm on your side. I love you either way, but no matter what you choose, but always give them an opportunity to know what's going on ahead of time. Anything to add?
I could respond to anybody's question here on any level. I guess we're starting to see a pattern. When Sean's is asking here of if you're always taking something away, is that punishment? Well, we're reflecting on how we survived our parents, right? They gave us things, they took it away, so we learned real quick to kind of comply under a really strong iron fist type of a way. And yes, we might have survived it. But the third option that I'm seeing is completely missing here is when Evie has talked about my grandparents, they always say, well, needs more spanking and more discipline. Well, that was the only option that they had. It was either ignore or punish.
Yeah.
And ignore didn't do anything, but punishment created a result to at least get things in the line. You know, it's backwards. However, if there was a way for us to go, well, if you are going to make it happen, and here's going to be a way that we create it for you. That's really what they're asking for. We have to create it for them, just like the birthday. We put out a lot of money for this birthday because they probably wanted it to be a fun experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with being able to say, gosh, you know, you're only going to be 10 once, double digits. This is exciting. We went from 9 to 10. And there's a chance here for you to create something called a birthday. We're celebrating when you showed up here in physical form. Let's go ahead and let's rejoice in that you are a winning lotto ticket. The odds of you showing up here are astronomical. Now, what would be important to you? And we zip it and we listen rather than projecting what we didn't get as a kid or what we think that might be. And we're just guessing on the best day. And I know that this is resonating on some level. But then they're like, well, I don't know what I want. Well, guess what? Whatever you give them, they're never going to match you toe to toe for it. So you give them $10 and they only give you $3 worth of happiness back. There's a $7 deficit. And we start getting very resentful. You ungrateful. You have no idea how long it took me to. And you know what? I'm never going to do this ever again for you. And the kid was like, well, for the record, one, I didn't ask for it. Two, I don't know what's going on in your brain with that adult thing. I'm just a kid. I mean, yeah, I'll take whatever you're giving me, but somehow you never gave me any instructions. And then I'm somehow supposed to figure out what I'm doing wrong to really tick you off. And matter of fact, we just had a negative plus negative, and all of a sudden we don't have anything positive. It's that third option that's missing. But if you start at 0 and they did some towards to create a birthday, well, I like to have balloons and I like to have some friends over, and we like to go over to, and I might be dating myself, but we always like to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Boy, that was been around since 80 years ago. And whatever I put out, Mom matched it or Dad matched it, even Steven. So if they ever wanted more things to next year's birthday party, then you know as the big kid, you'd have to do more. Yes, we know this on an intellectual level. When they can create more, they can create any level birthday party that their heart desires, wants, or needs. Mm-hmm. And that's the game changer.
Yeah. Well, now I'm starting to feel like we have like a big hose and we're like spraying you in the face with all of this stuff. I like that. Celebrate the little victories. Yes, Sean, absolutely. And you know what? Be very specific with your son. Be like, as soon as the dishes are done, as soon as you help with the dishes, or as soon as you do something very specific, that'll unlock the Wi-Fi every day. Start with one thing and work your way up from there, because you're going through a massive amount of change right now, and you don't want to just like do everything at once. You're going to allow just like, what is one expectation that would make you happy? Just one thing that would unlock Pandora's box, and then every 30 days add to it, right? Okay, so there's another comment up here. And Dawn, did you want to share something? Did you put your hand up? Yes? Okay, here. Oh, where are you? Unmute. There you go.
First, thanks for muting me, because I didn't know how to do that when the kids were walking in. But I was thinking about how this lesson today fits in with the shirts that you guys are wearing. I was thinking about how, for me as a big kid parent, and also for my children, maybe having a little notebook handy where they can write down the 3 things, the 3 ideas about how to get to that goal, you know, or what they might have a goal in mind, write down that goal, but helping them to see that it is a goal, and then, getting the pen out and the 3 different directions that might take them to lead to that goal. So I thought that just fit in pretty good. And I thought, well, first of all, I got to do it myself, which I've got my phone. I got the little notepad in the phone where I can write down those things as they come up, but also helping them to realize that, oh, this is frustrating for you. Oh, you want this thing? Let's write it down and see how some ways that we can get there.
Eek, how empowering is that? How exciting is that, really? Like, oh, you want this? Oh, you want to get your nose pierced? Oh, that is so exciting. Who do you know that has their nose pierced? How long have you been thinking about this? You see, I'm not taking my 12-year-old in the car to go get the nose pierced, you see? But it's empowering. It's like, oh man, where's your notepad? Let's write that down. That's called a goal. That's super exciting. Let's make a plan. How empowering is that? You got this. That's exciting.
Yes. And it looks like you got them activated or part of the actual process that the big kid, or better known as the adult, already knows that they have to go through. And it's completely off their radar. They have no idea how much planning and transportation and costs and finding and researching that goes into it. So the more that you can get them involved with that plan, so they can see from a kid's perspective, they can't project forward. Then all of a sudden, when the birthday does come, they can really go, wow, Mom, you really do love me so much. I mean, I had no idea what it took to pull this off. And they had some sweat equity involved. And not only did they put it in there, they start taking ownership of it too, rather than just some kind of gift that's entitlement.
Yeah.
And then when they start to see, oh, that was an experience the first time. Okay, I only did 1 out of the 10 things. Mom did 9. And then I can do 2 the next time. They start to build up to that momentum slowly but surely. And you would be amazed on how they can plan their birthday next year, going, okay, what can I start to do to make this birthday happen? And they are asking for passion and purpose. Give me a chance to start being a creator like you. And that's where the magic comes into play. And I just want to add a +1 to it. Evie is talking about here is, I want my kids to feel comfortable talking to me and expressing themselves. If we do it any other way, we're putting wedges in between us that we don't even know. We wonder why they don't open up or talk to us anymore. They clam up. But in this case, if they know they can come to you with anything, you're not saying yes or no, you're validating it and bringing that in. Now you can align with their goal and show them what it would take to take their special order, rather than us projecting onto them. And there's where the sweet spot can begin to raise those healthy, happy, cooperative kids.
Awesome. Any other thoughts, comments, observations, questions?
Yeah.
I unmuted you, Nicole. It looked like you were going to say something. Oh, unless you mute yourself. Okay, now you're unmuted. Oh no, I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself if you want.
Oh no, yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah.
Earlier in the one you were talking about toddlers and stuff, and was just thinking about things recently. My daughter has been really, really passionate. She's 3, and she's been testing the boundaries, and it was really great because I've been practicing pre-framing, just making the plans ahead of time, and I've had a lot of practice of moments happening where I'm like, ooh, I could have had a plan there, and so I'm starting to make plans, and we call them agreements. And it just reminds me, if you ever, like read folklore on fairies, because I'm into like, Middle Earth and folklore and all that stuff, and they always claim that pixies are really kind of mischievous when you make agreements with them. They always find the loopholes. And so it's kind of like making these plans and agreements with these little fairies, and they always find a little like, oh wait, I just want this one thing more. And so I've made kind of like these little caveats in our plans where, okay, we're agreeing to this, and if you ask for something else, I'm going to say we agreed to this plan. And so sure enough, it happens where, I want more water before I go to bed, or I want this, and talk to my animals. And it's like, okay, what's our agreement? And so she'll get a little, she'll cry, or sometimes she'll really get into it and, stomp her feet and stuff. And so I learned to just stick to the plan. Well, what did we agree? Okay. Like it kind of deflates after a while. Well, we did have an agreement, so there you go.
Good girl. Yeah, it's awesome. You have a plan. There's no emotional attachment to it. You have a plan in place, and all you have to do then as a mom is maintain integrity of the plan and then ask the question, what did we need to do? So smart. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
And well, I got Sean on here. I'm going to go to the comments here right away, JL and Eve. But Sean, I saw that you were here. I didn't know you were here. Welcome. Do you want to talk or say anything, or are you just good?
Well, I'm good. I just, this is really a change in the energy that I'm so accustomed to, which is not comfortable for me either. But it's the familiar, and you just like, it's like automatic directions home, and it's not the right way to get there anymore. So I'm trying to change that reactionary thing.
Yeah, kind of like look at everything with educational lenses versus behavioral lenses. Oh, what you're doing is disrespectful. It's like, okay, I see you need to learn what respect actually looks like. So now it's time for me to go, hey, when you respond to me like this, hey, I'll get right on it. Yes, ma'am, you bet, I'm there, whatever you need. You respond to me like that, then the Wi-Fi turns on. You respond to me with eye rolls, whatever, that's called disrespect. And that means I don't really want to use the Wi-Fi today. I love you either way, whatever you choose. And then you allow them to step up and go, okay, yes, ma'am, I'll get right on it. And they will step up if what they actually desire is the Wi-Fi. If we think they want Wi-Fi and we use it against them, then that's not coming from the right vibration. So so you're just going, okay, my son needs to learn what respect looks like. There's no emotional attachment to it. If you want to live here, we're going to be respectful. If you choose to live somewhere else, then you can choose to talk however you like. You see what I'm saying? I know it's harsh, but it's so fun and so freeing.
Oh, it totally is. And if we could really praise on how you're beginning to see and start to run and play with this, is that you're beginning to create the dialogue in a, whoa, I have a turn, rather than I have to bash and bully and strong arm you. You're guiding them, and they're going to be caught right like flat-footed, like Nicole was talking about. They're going to go back to their old traditional trainings of, well, okay. And then the healing starts to happen because we're guiding rather than our punishing old ways that we survived, and then looking how to outwit that or strong it. And it's punishment. So we can create a punishment scenario, which is always associated with a frown, or we can get into that guiding, which is where you're starting to play. And like the idea, it's shifting that energy where there's more smiles, like, whoa, you mean I can have an input? I have a say. I'm actually feeling like a somebody here, rather than just something that's being owned and controlled the whole time. Because the one thing that you can never do is control the human spirit.
Nope.
If you think you can, on the positive side, I've never met anybody yet. But on the dark side, oh my gosh, it's like nobody wants to be there. But we don't want to beat ourselves up because we were kind of guided that way from some people that maybe that whatever it was, but we're undoing something now. And everybody has a way to get to the other side when you approach it. And as Bonnie alluded earlier, it's not going to be overnight right now because I want it and this should be good. We have to be able to have a little bit of time, just like a baby takes 9 months and a pumpkin takes 3 months to mature. Where would you be in 1, 2, 3 months from now if you started to guide and let go of that control? Oh my gosh, happier, right?
It's really,
it's just the way to
really
go.
more about us than it is even about our kids, isn't it?
That's right.
It's about.
Absolutely. I was just thinking that same thing. It's almost like I have to parent the adult in me to be more, adult minded, because that's what we're really doing too, is trying to help them to become adults. We want this parent child relationship.
Yeah, I have the picture of like serenity now, or I'm trying to meditate. Could you guys just be quiet? It's like yelling at our kids to shut up, right? Dude, you guys just shut up. Stop yelling. It's like, oh my gosh. We have to take a step back. We have to take a step back and we have to go, what is it that exactly what I expect from my children? Eve, I want to say I'm so happy that you found us too. I've been doing my due diligence now for, I want to say 11 years, because if there was a parenting methodology out there that was focused on setting goals, earning privileges, being empowering, guiding behavior versus punishment, I would have just studied that and raised amazing kids. We couldn't find anything. I still can't find anything close to creating champions for life principles to exist. And that's why we're here. And we may not be the best marketers and we may not be the best, video editors or whatever, but I'm telling you what, we have the best content when it comes to raising champion kids. We have the best parenting principles out there for empowering children, for removing disorders from their diagnoses, for raising mentally strong, emotionally powerful kids. We have the best content in the world, which keeps us going. And I'm so grateful for you guys, for God, for studying, for being amazing for your kids, for stepping out, for being a leader for other parents here and around the world. We cannot do it ourselves. We need you. And you, I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, each one of you are just a little seed that God planted out there to teach you how to lead your children, how to guide the next generation. And these seeds are going to grow to become beautiful oak trees that are going to reproduce for the next generation. And that just makes life worth living, makes all of this journey that we've done for the last 10 years amazingly worth it. I love you guys and I love what we do. And thank you so much for being here. Oh, do you want to talk to JL? I've got to go feed my dad.
All right, well, let's just take a quick peek here.
We're almost done.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up. Boy, how many of us feel that we could just be here forever? Like, can we just do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like the Harry Truman Show or something like that? It would be so magnificent. Because it feels good. At least we're heading in a better direction, right? We may not be there yet, but that's the journey, right? Little plus ones every day starts to add up like coins in a jar. So here we are with JL that said, my iPhone caused temper tantrums constantly for a 7-year-old daughter. It was so bad that I pretended to get rid of my iPhone and bought a flip phone. Well, that's collateral damage.
Look at the next comment. She says,
yeah, going from there to there.
Next one. Yeah,
and here is get rid of the smartphone now, and the tantrums have been reduced to 1 to 2 out of 10 per day. Wow. Anybody just catch that? Because I'm going to say it again. I got rid of the smartphone, which was causing it in the first place. Kudos, JL. Like, oh my gosh, I brought it. Wait a minute. What if I took it back out? Oh, at least we're learning. That's awesome. And then the number went from 10 a day all the way down. You put out the cause, you took it away, and it reduced it to 1 out of 2 per day. Oh my gosh. what a victory that is for you. Congratulations. That makes so much sense.
And then too, I want to add a +1, because when you start working with us and we learn how to make proactive plans and we guide and whatnot, you should be able to have a smartphone and a daughter that doesn't have temper tantrums. So we'll work on that. But I'm glad that you found the root to a cause there.
Right. And and there was one more line to it. It says, my daughter even reads books again and loves it.
They're so capable.
Wow. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. You just make little tiny adjustments, 1 degree adjustments moving forward, and you start seeing things happen. And with consistency, it always does. And we'll look at that. We're right at the top of the hour. Who would love to be here next week when we show up? We'll be here. Okay. So let's keep the energy going. Let's keep moving forward. I love the comments. And we're so happy you found us too.
Yes. And thank you so much for all of the reviews on our fan page, because Facebook actually sent us a message saying, hey, if you had a review, we could probably show more people your messages. So I appreciate you guys a lot. I didn't even have them turned on until yesterday. So thank you so much. All right. We got to go.
All right. So congratulations on all your victories. We'd love to hear more as you keep moving forward.
Yes.
And until we do meet again, here's to
your
your
parenting
parenting
success.
success. Cheers.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Cheers.
Mhm.